Hello, all of you EHNeters out there, and welcome to this exclusive webcast by the Ethical Hacker Network. The Ethical Hacker Network, for those of you who don't know, is a free online magazine for pen testers and security professionals worldwide. In addition to great articles, a global calendar of events, and an active and welcoming community in our forums, we are also the home of the free monthly giveaways, where literally thousands of dollars in prizes are awarded each and every month to our top contributors. I'm Don, your friendly neighborhood editor-in-chief and your humble host for today. As a reminder, we are recording today, so yes, the video of this webcast will be made available on EHNet either later this month or early in November. Everyone will be notified by email when the video is live, and of course it will be plastered all over EHNet as well. So, with that out of our way, let's start things off with the now obvious subject of the webcast as described in the title. If you haven't seen our incessant tweeting, this webcast is all about HackMe. HackMe is a great new project by eLearnSecurity for and by the community. If you haven't had a chance yet to catch the teaser trailer or the teaser video over at hack.me, don't worry. You'll get much more than that here today. But we will not just cover an overview of HackMe. You will also get live demos. Yay! Also, please be sure to stay with us until the very end of this webcast as we have a cool surprise for everyone in attendance today. Anyway, now is the time that I would usually spend presenting several slides, talking about the speakers, what they do, and why the heck should you listen to them. But since you're in attendance today, I kind of assume that you saw their bios probably at least about 10 times already. So instead, let me simply welcome our two experts today. Armando Romeo, founder of eLearnSecurity, and also Thomas Mackenzie, founder of Upsploit Advisory Management. Welcome, gentlemen. Now,
hello everybody.
Just to give you an idea of what we're going to do today, Armando will start things off with an overview of the project and then give you a live look at HackMe. Then we'll give Mr. Mackenzie some time for some live exploitation. We'll close things out with a little Q&A, and then we'll sock you with our surprise. During the presentation, I will be monitoring the chat and the question windows that you see in your GoToWebinar control panel. I'll present your questions at the end during the Q&A session. Sound like a good plan? Excellent. And with that, we'll dispense with all the other pleasantries and we'll dive right in. So pardon me for a second while I hand over the reins to Armando. There we go. And how are you today, sir?
Hello everybody, can you hear me? Hello. Thank you, Don. Thanks for everything. This is a great day for me, for the team, even for the beta testers who have spent so much time in the past 2 weeks helping us improve this project. Today is the day of HackMe. So thanks for being here, really. It's a pleasure to be on this webcast today and unveil the secrets and the details of this project. So we have tried to make a very interactive, hopefully not boring webinar. So this is the structure of the webinar. So in the beginning we will try to shed some light over the project. So what is HackMe, who it is for, how it works with the Coliseum framework, just very few slides, and then we will dive into the real demo. So I will show you how you can create your first HackMe, and then Thomas will show you how you can exploit an application on HackMe. So let's move on with defining the project. So finally, what is HackMe? HackMe is about web application security. So it's not just virtual labs, it's not just free contents, it's a community-based virtual labs. It's something, it's a new concept of, using virtual labs. So everyone can build, share, and use vulnerable web application code. It's open to everybody. Everybody can sign on online. There's nothing to download, nothing to configure. you will just need a web browser and access all of our HackMes in a secure way. So you will get isolated access. Each vulnerable web application will be run in a sandbox, and we will talk about sandboxes in a few minutes. So let's first give a look at who are the users involved on HackMe. So as Don said, it's a community-based project, so community for the community. So we will have users from the community who are able to code PHP or HTML. So they are into security maybe, and they want to share their HackMes for the others. Or they might be web application security researchers. Everyone else will be able to enjoy these HackMes. So as I said, through the web browser, just run the web application the web application within a sandbox, enjoy the isolated environment, and then even discuss about the HackMe. So HackMe is a platform to practice web application security and also learn web application security. So who it is for? The first thing you might imagine is that this platform is, of course, for students, for learners, because they can practice for free. They can do it easily online. They can do it safely. So yeah, it's for students for sure. But it's also for two other kinds of users. I've been myself a web application security researcher for a year and for fun also. So myself, I had to install web servers, install web application on my own web server. Every time I was breaking a web application, I had to reinstall everything from scratch. Now with HackMe, a web application security researcher can just spawn a new instance, for example, of WordPress, of a given version of WordPress, and start playing with it within seconds. Pen testers. Now imagine you who want to pen test a given version of WordPress or a custom application that your client have. So what you can do, you can just upload the code, make it HackMe, and test it online wherever you are. So it's not just a platform for students, it's also a platform for power users like researchers and pen testers. So how it works? So everyone can upload their own code, HTML, PHP. So we support PHP right now. We support your own databases. So MySQL is supported. This means that you can define your databases. We will see this in a second. Once you create this HackMe, we will host your code within the cloud in a secure way, and we will instantiate your code within a sandbox every time you need your code. So I'm sure some of you are already aware, already experienced the Coliseum lab in eLearnSecurity. It's our lab for web application security. It was a paid lab, it is a paid lab, and the Coliseum framework is responsible for the overall functioning of HackMe. So the Coliseum framework will create your sandbox. So what is a sandbox? A sandbox is a way to isolate your web application at 3 different layers. So the file system layer, the web server layer, and the database layer. So this ensures that whenever you are running your sandbox, no one else will interfere with your sandbox. So just to put it this way, no 2 kids in one sandbox. So enough for words. Okay, I promised it was fast, so let's just move on and see how HackMe works. Let's create our first HackMe. This is the development area of HackMe. I will log in with my username and password. After this demo, I will show you how you can become a developer. We'll click login. You can sign in with Google. I will go straight on to the developer area. Here is the dashboard of a developer. So we have 2 tables here. The table where you have your HackMes in progress. So I'm sure you don't code an overall web application in one shot. I'm sure it takes some time. It might take days. So you can save your HackMes as draft. Once you have completed your HackMes, you will find them here. So you can see this HackMe that I created a few days ago, and I will find it here. So let's move on and create our new HackMe. It's very simple. So the first thing I'm asked to provide is, of course, the name of the hackme. So we will do my first hackme as a name. The description is very important because it's the place where I can provide information regarding the hackme. So the users that will search for the hackme will know how to use the hackme. So here I can provide information such as the vulnerabilities included, if there are any external resources that I should look for before I do this hackme. For example, links to the advisories. So I will just put a simple description with info on hackme. I will then decide the category this fits in. So if it's just a demonstration of, for example, an XSS, I will use OWASP. If it's a proof of concept, I will do POC. But let's just keep OWASP. Okay, let's select tag. Tags are very useful to determine what kind of hackme I'm going to create. We'll just click create and my process will begin. So you can see here on the right, a green arrow appears. Let's click here and we will start our process. As you can see, the process is very straightforward. So you will create the files and folders for a web application. You will determine the privileges of each file and folder. You will determine the server that we will use. You will define the databases. You will get an overview over your web application, and you will receive some feedback on how good your hackme is. So let's begin with these file and folders. This is where you create your files, you create your folders, or you can upload files. If you have already created some challenges in the past and want to upload them on this platform, you're welcome. And you can do so very simply by uploading files with this button. If you have, for example, a common off-the-shelf software or a custom application that you already have on your local web server, you can just use this feature. You will click on Upload Files and just select the file that you want to upload, and this will be uploaded. So for now, let's just upload an image. This one. As you can see, it's very straightforward. This picture has been uploaded. Now let me create one file. When I do create file, I can select, of course, the name. Let's call it index.php. It's 0 kilobytes. There's nothing within it, so I will just click on it, and a code mirror will appear. The code mirror is a convenient way to create your own code within the hackme platform. So you don't have to have your own development environment. If you have it, no problem, you can use the upload feature. If you don't, you can just create files right away through this code mirror. The most convenient feature of this code editor is that you can have your syntax highlighted. So according to the type of file, if it's MySQL, XML, PHP, JavaScript, you will get different highlighting. So let's select PHP for now, and let's create a very trivial web page, HTML. Okay, let's define a head, title, let's close the head. Let's move on with the body. Within the body, I will insert some PHP code. So simply, we will do something like this. We will print something on screen. Very, very simple for today's example. So my hackme says, and that's it. We will include the image that we have already uploaded, so I can reference it within this code. So I will just do one.jpg. Okay, I will close the body, I will close the HTML, and I think I'm done. Okay, so at this point, I will just click Save and Close. I will just maybe make it this way to look more convenient. Okay. save and close, and I have my index.php now. It's been filled. Okay, so we can move on within the process. Let's click the arrow, the green arrow. And here, very nice, I can select the privileges. I can decide which privileges each file should have. Now, I'm sure you know that many vulnerability scenarios within web application security are caused by, privileges not well configured. Let's put it this way. So here you can create your scenarios according to this kind of vulnerability. So I might want to make this 1.jpeg writable, and I can just click here. I will make it writable. I can make index.php writable once again, or I can just give no privileges. It's very simple to do so. So as you can see, I will just leave everything to read. So we are okay with privileges, and I will move on. At this point, here you can see our goal to make Hackme a multi-platform environment. So today we support IIS 7. So in the future, when we will support even Apache and other servers, you will be able to select these other servers. Right now you will select, of course, the index page, that is the first page that should be run as soon as my root is hit. And here I can add PHP as a server-side scripts. Once again, when we will support .NET, for example, you will be able to select .NET. For now, I'm happy with PHP. When I select PHP, I can even decide which language version I want to use, or which libraries I want to use. For example, if I have a connection to a database, for example MySQL, I will just select MySQL. If I have some crypto function, I will use OpenSSL. So I can select which libraries I want the server to load for me. For now, we will not need anything special, so we will leave them this way. So we can move on, clicking the right arrow. This is a very interesting part. So once again, it's not just about PHP or HTML. You can define and design your own database. So if you have database within your code, you can just click on I want to use database. When you click here, once again, you will see how multi-platform this is, or at least wants to be, because we are in the process of expanding this. So you will select the DBMS, in this case MySQL. When we will support Postgre, you will see Postgre here. Same applies for the version. So let's say I'm okay with MySQL. I will need to add a database. So I will click on plus here and define the name of the database. For example, just let's use users as a database. So here the application says the users database has been created, and now I can import data within it. So I will click on import data. If I already have a SQL dump of the database, I can just click on insert SQL code. If I don't, I can just use the phpMyAdmin interface given for free from phpMyAdmin.net. Let's see if it opens. Basically, this is a hosted version of phpMyAdmin, where you don't need to install phpMyAdmin locally, but you can access their version of phpMyAdmin. It's located at demo.phpMyAdmin.net. It doesn't seem to be loading right now, but it actually should. Let's see. It loads.
Gotta love live demos.
Okay, it's not loading. But anyway, the purpose of this is that if you go to demo.phpMyAdmin.net, you will find a freely usable version of phpMyAdmin. There you will be able to create your own database, to fill in the table, to define the tables, to define the schema of the database in terms of columns, in terms of data types. You can insert even your data. At that point, you can just click export. Once you do export within phpMyAdmin, you will go here, insert SQL code, and you will copy and paste here the code. this will basically be used by Coliseum Lab to create, the Coliseum framework to create your database. At this point, once you have your database defined with the data, with the tables, with the columns and everything, you will need to define two things. The first thing is the users, so which user has privileges on which database. So the first thing you will do is to create a username database user, so like my user, the password like my password, and you will use this user within your PHP code to connect to the database. Once you're done, you will define the privileges that each database user defined here will have on your user's database. You can do so very easily by clicking on this icon here and determine if you want them to, my user to have a select and insert, or just grant all. Okay, so it's very, very flexible. You determine how you can access your database. This is very important when you create your own scenarios, because you might want some users to access only some tables and so on. So for now, for today, this was just for the purpose of showing you how you can use the database. We will not use the database in this demo, so we will just click on remove the database. We can click next. At this point, I'm given an overview of my configuration. So I will see the privileges that I have configured, so it's everything to read, nothing special. The server, the version of the PHP server, the index page that I've used, and of course no databases have been defined. At this point, the process of creating a HackMe has been completed. So what you want to do now is probably to launch this application, right? So what you will do is click here, show me the preview. Now when I click show me the preview, since it's very fast, I want to say it now, what it will do is instantiate a new sandbox and run your code within this sandbox. So let me do it. I will click on show me the preview. The sandbox is being created, and my code will run in just a few seconds. So my HackMe says, I love the smell of sandbox in the morning. I'm sure many of you know this phrase. Okay, so beside the joke, let me show you the important part of this. I hope you can see this first part of the URL. So this is the URL of the sandbox. So the first part is a subdomain allocated just for you. This means that this is your actual sandbox. Within this sandbox, you will be able to do anything you want. You can hack, you can remove files, you can do anything. Thomas later will show you how you can destroy things and then come back and have all the things in place. So the first part represents the sandbox. The second part is just one of the servers, one of our servers within the cloud, and of course the rest is the domain name. Okay, so we are from here, from the preview, I can see if my code is good, if it needs some tweaking, if it needs some more, some new features. So I can just close it, and at this point I'm presented with these two options. So I can either save and publish or save as draft. Now, when do I save as draft? I save as draft when I'm not completely happy with my HackMe. So I want to add more files, I want to modify some files, and so on. So when I save as draft, I will just go back to my development area, and from there I can do anything else. When instead I click on one of these buttons here, I go back within the process of this HackMe. For example, I can go back to the privileges step or to the server step. Instead, when I click Save and Publish, it means that I'm happy with the HackMe. I want to save it and publish it. Let me click here. And here I will have this kind of information. Now here I have two options. Once again, I will be able to make it to publish this as an only me HackMe. This means that's only for you. No one else will see this HackMe. This is especially good if you want to create your own environment for your client, for example, or you want to test something that you don't want to show to others. So you can keep your HackMe private. No one will be able to search it. No one will be able to run it. It's your own HackMe. When instead you want to share it to the world, and it's the fun part, okay? It's the purpose of the project. You click on public, and it will be searchable, will be runnable from others, and you can share it. You can share it through the permalink. It's one static link to your HackMe. You can see the name of my HackMe being included within the URL. And you can even use this short link, this very nice short link here, that is hack.me short link. You can use this short link on Twitter, on Facebook, basically to share your application. For now, I can just click OK, proceed. I've made it public. I'm back to my developer area. As I told you, I will see it in the completed HackMes. This is it, my first HackMe. So from here I can reach the HackMe page. This is the HackMe page reachable from the permalink. And from here I can run, not just me, but anyone else will be able to run a new instance of the application. Okay, so this completes the process of creating a new HackMe. Okay, so let's go back. Once you have this information, now you know how you can create your HackMe. As you have seen, it's very, very easy to create your HackMe. Let me tell you how you can become a developer. Okay, so how can you become a developer? You should become a developer if you know PHP. And if you are into security, even if you don't know PHP, there are so many scenarios you can do with just HTML and JavaScript, you know. So if you have already your challenges on other websites, there are so many different great challenges around there. One for all, the Damn Vulnerable Web Application from my friend Ryan. So hopefully all of these challenges around will be brought to hack.me. Because it's the place to be, because it's free, because everyone will be able to run this application securely. So you can become a HackMe developer as easy as filling in a web form on our website. Of course, the submissions are moderated. This means that we make sure that you do not upload viruses. So there's a moderation process around this. So what you get, of course, this is a free project, but you get recognition for your work. You will own the copyrights for your work, and of course you will get the love from the community. Okay? So we really hope that you join us and make this platform very rich, not just for us, but for all the other people using this platform. Okay, at this point, I think I will hand it over to Don. We'll introduce Thomas, and Thomas will show you how you can do actual exploitation on HackMe. Don?
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Now I'm really interested to see, not only is it a slick interface on how you interact with people, but now this really gets into the meat of it. So I'll hand it over to Thomas now, as he's actually going to show you some exploitation.
Hello. Hi. So, as everybody knows, my name is Thomas Mackenzie. I have been helping out Armando with some beta testing on this, and really excited to be talking to everybody about this today and really getting across how easy this is to use. Now, Armando's gone over some of the things if you're a developer. Now, if you know me, I'm not a developer. In fact, I have no interest in developing, and this is really good for me as well because it allows me to do what I do best, which is play around with some code in a hacking sort of way. So what I'm going to do here, I'm already logged on to HackMe as the HackMe 1 user. I'm going to search for the HackMe launch HackMe, And what will happen here is it will search through the database, and you'll be able to see here, if I zoom in, the author, the last revision, and the tags that Armando was showing you before. So I'll click on here, and then the most important thing that Armando was showing you that I want to really get across here is the description. So the description here is quite vague. However, what is really good here is, let's say a vulnerable version of WordPress comes out. I'll be able to see the advisories listed in this particular description. You can see the statistics of each and of this particular hackney, and I'll be able to see the category and what vulnerabilities are included within this particular sandbox. Now it's really simple. I literally click on this button here. What's happening is it's creating my sandbox, and within a matter of seconds I get another window pop up, and it allows me to actually start hacking the application. This is a terms of service message. This is basically just saying, this is your sandbox, nobody else will be able to play with it. And you click agree. It opens it up, and as you're able to see, when it loads, it just looks like a normal web application with the URL that Armando was talking about here. You have the sandbox name, you have the server, and you also have the normal domain name. Now what I'm going to do, because sometimes dependent on the internet connection it can take a little while, is I know already, because let's pretend, which I have, but let's pretend that I've used this before and I just want to make sure my tool is working. What I'm going to do is exploit a SQL injection using SQL-map. SQL-map is the penetration tester tool of choice when it comes to SQL injection exploitation. And what I'm going to do with this, if I type in correctly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to exploit this particular parameter, product ID number 2, and dump the database. Now, while that's going on, I just want to show you that hack.me really is just loading your own application. So you can click on links just like a normal website. I mean, Armando said this is literally all you need is a browser here. You click on a button and it spawns a new website. So this is perfect. Now what's really important here is that I'm playing with this now. I'm going to open up a new user, as you can see here, HackMe2. I can do the exact same thing as what I've just done and have, what I'm showing you here is that you can have concurrent users using, but it's not really concurrent. That was a bad choice of words. What's really happening here is it's launching a completely different sandbox. So I've gone through the same process again. I'm clicking the start, and what's happening here is it's creating a brand new website for me to start playing with, and I can do whatever I want without the worry of affecting the other one. So if you see here, the URL on this particular sandbox is completely different to the URL on this particular sandbox. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully this is going to finish soon. The idea of this demo is to show you that I can hack this particular application. It's a normal website. I can dump the database, but then I can destroy the application. I can use a SQL injection update statement to actually deface the website so that it's beyond repair. Sorry, I'm just worried that it's going a bit further than it should be. Have I done that wrong? I don't think so. So that doesn't seem to be working. What I can do is I can show you the second injection. Sorry about that. What we're going to look at here is, if you can see this is the count of 32. So essentially what this part of the website is doing is it's allowing me to vote for my favorite machine here. So my favorite machine is this one. I click on the plus button and it gives me the count of 33. So it's added it up to 1. And if we have a look at the top of the URL bar here, what's happening here is what I can assume as a pen tester. There's an update statement going on, and it's updating that particular field by 1. Now, the first part of this demo where I was supposed to dump the database was supposed to show you the fact that I can, enumerate the database, the columns, and I understand exactly how the database is working. Now, you're going to have to take my word for that, because obviously for some reason that SQL injection wasn't working. But hopefully you can see what I'm trying to get at. What I'm going to do is, in this update statement, I'm going to put this in. So what this is doing is this is inserting on top of the +1. So imagine the statement something along the lines of update the vote by whatever's in this vote parameter here. So update it by 1 to prove to you that that's exactly what's going on. What I can do here is update it by, let's say, 3, and we would expect the count to go to 36. So if we update it by 3, the count goes to 36. So what I'm going to do here is every single place where the name field is within the database for the products table, which is what's being updated, I'm going to put this cross-site scripting in. And what's going to happen here is it's using the document body in a HTML object to essentially deface the web page with this image tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy and paste that. I'm then going to put it into here and make sure that I've got this in front of me. And then when I press enter, what's happening here is I have to face the page. Now, to show you that the website is completely broken, what I can do is type index.php, which is the main page. Nothing's going on. There was another page in there called compare.php. As you can see down here, we have the wrong data. So the website is completely beyond repair. But if we go back to user number 2, hackme2, I can click on here and the application is still working. And if you look down here, the count is still 32. So I can start playing with this again, and the application is working. This is a completely different instance of the Hackney sandbox. This is for a completely different user, and this person hasn't been affected whatsoever. Now, as a pen tester, me playing around with this, I can easily, if I've got, let's say, like an XAMPP instance on my own computer, I can easily, refresh back to a previous state. But it does take, I have to come out of my browser. I have to drag, maybe open a zip folder, drag it into the directory, delete the old files, do whatever. If I've, done something with a database, play around with the database. With this, it's really simple. I go back to the control panel. I click the reset button, and then it resets my sandbox. And it's just as quick as starting the sandbox. And now the application is going to work again. It's going to be back to normal. And the way that I can show you this is by that vote again. That vote is showing that it's back down to 32 when the page loads. So if you see here, the count is again 32. And I can attack the web application all over again. And what's, again, really important to note, and what I'm trying to get across here, and I keep saying it's important to note, what I'm trying to show you is that this person isn't affected at all by any other person's, activities. This is completely isolated, and I can come over here and destroy this particular Hackney. And whilst that's being destroyed on the other user, I can come over here and still use this website. And as a pen tester, this is really good for me because it's an isolated instance just for me, and I can upload WordPress in there, and I can start trying to find vulnerabilities and write advisories, which is what I want to be doing in my spare time, not having to unarchived TAG zip folders or things like that. This is what I want to do, and I think this is a really good platform to be able to do that. So sorry about the demo not working at first, but that's the attacking of a hack me, and I guess I'll pass it back over to Don.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. Now let me actually hand it back over to Armando really quickly. There we go, and pretty soon we should see his screen. All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
I sure can. Well, thank you guys.
Okay.
Well, now that we've seen both presentations, Armando, do you have anything to add, or is there any give and take, or do you think we should go right into Q&A?
I think there's something we should add. I think there is a few information on the projects, okay? And then we will go straight to the Q&A. So the project, okay, the project is, I'm from eLearnSecurity. eLearnSecurity devised the project, used the Coliseum framework, and the Coliseum framework is an eLearnSecurity project, has been funded by eLearnSecurity, and but this is a free community-based project. So there's nothing, commercial about it. There's nothing about training courses. It's a community-based project. Do you want to sponsor? We might consider. Of course, sponsor will help the development and enrichment of the platform. So we're not talking about banners, okay? Advertisement. We don't want advertisement. We want this project to grow, to be more and more useful to as many people as possible. Okay, so this has been a really huge work for us. 13 months of development just on Hack.me. So my kudos and my thanks goes to Giuseppe and Domenico, who are both the main developer of Hack.me and the Coliseum framework. So once again, everyone can contribute, even if you are not a developer. So if you want to improve our interface and you are good with jQuery, with graphics, or of course you want to, dedicate some spare time to moderate the hackme's, you can. Any help is really welcome. So you will find the contact us, the email address at the end. You can follow us on Twitter. You can just drop us an email and we will make sure to tell you exactly what we need and where you can help us. At this point, I think we can start with the questions. So I will be very glad to answer all of your questions. And before that, let me say thanks to all the community around ethicalhacker.net and everyone who has been here until now. So, Don.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I also appreciate you giving us a little more information about the project itself. It really does look like a pretty useful source, not just for newbies who are looking to learn in a safe, controlled environment, but it's also pretty fantastic for those seasoned pros out there looking for a sandbox test lab. But with that, we have a number of questions from the audience. I know I have a couple questions myself, so let's move right into question number one. This is in no particular order. There are a bunch of people that sent in questions, so we'll just try and get to as many as possible. It looks like we have about 16 minutes before the top of the hour. If things are going swimmingly, then we will just head right past that top of the hour and answer a few more questions. In addition to that, you can always go to the Hack Me project. You can also go back to ethicalhacker.net, where we have open threads based on this webcast that both Armando and Thomas, I'm sure, wouldn't mind dropping in and answering a few questions there as well. For those of you who are members of the Ethical Hacker Network, I'm sure you've seen Armando answer several questions there before. So, with that said, a lot of people are asking about, is there a central repository of hackme's? How many hackme's already currently exist before launch? And how do we find out more information and detailed descriptions of the hackme's that exist?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So the repository is centralized. It's a very interesting, project under the design point of view, because we had to overcome many challenges. So yes, there's a centralized repository where we store all of the hackme's that people create. the repository is in the cloud, and then we send it to the servers who's responsible to, create a sandbox around the HackMe. So the central repository for you, from the user interface, you will see it from hack.me. So if you go to hack.me, you will find all of the latest HackMes. Of course, how you can be notified of the latest HackMes. One thing is for sure Twitter. On Twitter, we will send every new HackMe posted on the platform. Another option is you will have a small web form on the bottom of the web page of our homepage, where you will be able to insert your email address and receive digest of all of the newest, all of the latest HackMes uploaded on the platform, for example, over the last 7 days. So you will make sure that you will not miss any HackMe on the platform. And what was the last question, Don?
I think the last question was, sorry, I was taking myself off of mute there. I think the last question was, what kind of detailed descriptions can we see of those HackMes? We also have other questions coming in about what HackMes will be there at launch, what copies of, let's say, current content management systems will you have different versions? If you could address that, that would be great.
Sure. Yes, this is another great question because it gives me the possibility to mention something. Now, we want this HackMe. Okay, I call it an app store of vulnerable web application. So this is my dream, honestly, for the platform. So you can browse hundreds and hundreds of HackMes. Right now, we just have a bunch of HackMes that people can play with as soon as we launch the platform. So within the next few weeks, since we wanted to make sure that the platform was perfectly working before we launched it, we concentrated on making the platform working. From tomorrow itself, we will start adding more and more versions of each CMS. For example, right now you will find 2 CMSs, Joomla and WordPress, 2 different versions, and this will be vulnerable. You will find a few XSS HackMes, and you can just start right away. You will find the same HackMe that Thomas hacked today. So just search for HackMe launch, and you will be able to have fun on that. So from now on, we will expect to have dozens, if not hundreds, of different HackMes with all of the different CMSs, each version for each CMSs, many different custom applications that we create, the community creates, to challenge people and to let people, practice web application security.
Sorry to interrupt as well, but I know there are a number of projects out there currently that, like the OWASP Live CD project, and I know that Ryan Dewhurst, Ethical Hacker, he has created a live CD with a number of, well, all of the WordPress versions up until a certain point. And what's important to note is that even if they're not on there now, if somebody, let's say, tomorrow adds them or next week adds them, they're now available for everybody to use. So there may not be everything there straight away, but they're easy to get hold of. And once one person, decides, yeah, I'm going to spend, maybe an hour or so to put these on, then everybody's going to have access to them.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for that, Thomas.
Excellent. Now, we have a whole bunch of questions, and we're running at about 11 minutes left. And again, for those of you who keep sending a bunch of questions, the presentation is being recorded. The video will be available on EHNet in article format either by the end of the month or early in November. Just a quick little reminder there. Also, let's breeze through some of these. Are there any hidden costs, or is it completely free with full access to anyone?
Absolutely. There's no hidden cost. There's our cost to run the platform, on the cloud, because it's not just a virtual machine that you give for free. It's an entire platform on the cloud, and we pay for the bandwidth, we pay for everything, for the development, and you will not spend $1 on this platform, completely for free. Of course, in the future, if we see an abuse of this, for example, if we see an abuse from companies on this, companies who might be able to, to contribute to the project, and they are just using the project, then we might think to, to keep it for free for personal use and have companies that use the project, donate something to make the project even better. But I can assure you that you will not pay a dime to use our platform.
Well, and that's excellent, Armando, because I know in some personal conversations that we've had, we both believe in giving back to a community that has given so much to us. In addition to that, just like the Ethical Hacker Network, all the content is free and freely available, but we have advertisers. So I know Armando won't say it because he's a very just a trustworthy kind of guy. But you know what? Yes, in a sense, this will eventually go back, and hopefully you guys will at least consider the courses over at eLearnSecurity. In light of being open, they clearly are supporters of EHNet, and if you're interested in finding out more about the courses, there are some reviews of some of their courses on EHNet. But now back to the questions. What other languages will there be other than PHP? What are there currently, and what are you looking for in future development?
Okay, good. This is another good question, because we want this platform to be multi-platform. So as soon as we see that the project take off in terms of use, we will add .NET. .NET will be probably the next language that we will add on the platform. That's why the reason we based our platform on Windows Server first. It's not because we like Windows more than Linux. It's just because with Windows you can do .NET and you can do PHP and you can do it. So once you base your platform on Windows, you can do both. So the next step for us is to first make the interface bug-free, implement the necessary feature, add more PHP stuff, include all of the versions of CMSs, and then we will seriously add new languages, new databases. For example, I was mentioning Postgre, so that you can create different scenarios with different scripting languages, with different databases, with different servers.
Excellent. Now there are a whole bunch of questions, and I'm going to try and kind of put a little wrapper around all of them and see if I can kind of combine a whole bunch of questions into one. So there's a lot of questions about what will be discussed in the community forums, about what kind of canned hackme's will be available. Also, if there's going to be some hackme's that involve a challenge per se, almost like a little contest, and if not, if it's just a vulnerable hackme, how do you actually either hack it or prevent the hack from happening? And there's just all kinds of conversations that will eventually take place in your community forums on hackme.
Yeah. So as I said in one of the very first slides, we want this platform to be a place where people can practice and talk about web application security around the hackme. So we will make sure that the author of the hackme can be reached by the user of the hackme, so that a discussion can be created, contents can be shared, links can be shared, always around the hackme. So for example, if I have a hackme about, I don't know, blind SQL injection, okay, the creator of the hackme can share links, for example, can share videos, can create educational tools around the hackme. Now, without any fear that this will compete with us, we are just here to, to push quality and push innovation within training industry, into IT security training industry. So for sure we will try to facilitate the communication and the ways both creators of the hackmes and users of the hackmes will happen. Was there another question? Okay, yeah, there will be challenges. Yes, of course, some hackmes will be more on an educational purpose. So you are told what you have to do within the description. We will add more fields there. So you will find PDFs, you will find videos. Other hackme's will be more on a challenge basis. So you will be left alone to figure out what you have to hack. So of course, doing an event around a challenge is something we really want to do, and it's something in the project, in the plans. So like an event where we say, okay, in the next 12 hours, we will give 3 hackme's, and you will have to hack them. You will get a score, you will get flags, capture the flag type of challenges. The winners will win, for example, one of our training courses. We do this at conferences. We have done this kind of challenge at the latest BrewCon conferences. Was a real success, and we aim to do it as well on Hack.
Excellent. Speaking of challenges, and of course, as most of you know, if you follow Hack Me on Twitter, it's at Hack Me Project. So I'm sure you'll learn about all these different projects that are coming up. The Ethical Hacker Network also does a whole bunch of different contests, and Armando and I have been working together for years, so I'm sure it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility that we will have a contest together. But speaking of challenges, we had somebody ask the question that they're interested in putting up a Hack Me for their own students. So apparently this person is an instructor. And he noticed that you only have the ability to share hackme's either for yourself or globally. Is there plans in the future to have shared groups?
Oh, great. I really love this question because the group feature, you know, by design we have three different visibility level. Only me, group, and public. So group for now is in the making, so it's just a matter of a couple of weeks probably, and it will be available. So you will select which users will be able to see your hackme. So if you are an instructor, you will upload your challenges and make them available really easily to a list of users by email or by username on hackme. So absolutely this is a feature that we are already coding. We are well into the development of this. It's just a matter of days.
Excellent. That's good news. There are a lot of questions about not just having vulnerable web applications, but also different versions of things. So we have several questions about, well, I see that you have IIS, and you had mentioned earlier that you will eventually have Apache in there. But will you have different versions of IIS, different versions that will be vulnerable? Can you turn features on and off? Will it be the same thing with Apache? Same thing with, let's say, MySQL. Will you have different versions of MySQL that will be, let's say, vulnerable to a particular web app attack as opposed to one that is completely patched?
Yes, sure. As long as we talk about the web application layer, and we are not talking about, you know, buffer overflows over the MySQL, for example. So as long as we talk about the web application level, then yes, we will do this. That's why we now have only one option to select the version, but as you have seen, you can decide which version. We have already thought the drop-down menu from which you can have different versions of the server-side script and the database. So definitely this is something we will do. For IIS 6 and IIS 7, this is not something we are going to do. We will probably do Apache instead of IIS 6. And of course, as I show you, you can even tweak the libraries that you can load with PHP. The same thing we will do, for example, to IIS 7, where you can have your own web config. With the web config, you can entirely configure your web server. So this is something we already have in the plans to allow you to upload your web config, and from there you can, of course, change the behavior of the overall web server for that particular hackme, of course.
Excellent. And you kind of answered it in answering that last question, but just to make sure, we'll go over it again, because we have several questions that are asking about the server attributes. So can they make the server vulnerable for additional testing, or is that just going to be considered more of a network pen test kind of issue and not really applicable to hackme?
Well, it depends on what they mean by making the web server vulnerable. We give the configuration of the web server. If you can do that by configuring the web server, then yes. If you mean to install, for example, an IS API, then no, we do not think we will support this. But of course, when you do a web config, when you upload your web config, you can seriously change all of the behavior of your web application at the web server layer. I hope I have answered this question.
Absolutely. Let's do a couple quick rapid-fire questions. Can you upload a zip archive file and automatically extract it on the HackMe?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is not. This is a feature that you will not find today, but definitely it's something that you will do. It's because we understand that you want to upload a number of files, nested files. For example, you want to zip your WordPress installation, for example, or your Joomla, and it's thousands of files. Of course, you can upload your zip. It will get extracted, and you will see it in the file and folders step of the creation process, for sure.
Excellent. We saw that you had permalinks and you also had shortened links, but can you also create custom subdomains under hack.me?
The subdomains, you mean the name of the sandbox, probably.
Correct.
It's something we do not allow right now, but it's something we might think of. It's a good suggestion. So yeah, we didn't think about it. You can change your permalink. We allow you to change your short link and change your permalink, but not the subdomain part. So if you're mentioning the sandbox domain name, yeah, it's a suggestion. We might want to do it if there are many people asking for it.
Okay. Can you start multiple sandboxes at the same time?
Oh no. This is a small limitation for the usage and for the resources. We might want to relax this once we see a pattern of usage over time. So in the next few weeks, we will keep a close look at the stats, at the resources usage. If we see they are not high, we might want to give simultaneous access to 2 different sandboxes at the same time. Right now, there's only one sandbox.
Excellent. Now, let me get your opinion on this, Armando. We have a number of questions that are left, but I know that we have some people that have scheduled a specific time frame, and so they probably have to go. So how about we wrap things up right now, but we will stay online because we have a huge number of people that are still online and plenty of questions to go through. So would you agree to do that? We'll just go ahead and wrap it up now for recording purposes, and then we'll answer some additional questions afterwards.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. Well, with that in mind, we've heard a whole bunch about the project. We saw it in action, even saw some attacks, which was totally awesome. But I actually do have one more question myself, and probably the most important question that everyone's asking is, well, when can I start playing? And in fact, if you don't mind, we were talking about this earlier, so I'll go ahead and take this answer. How about right now? Yes, Armando told me before the webcast that he and his crew are standing by, and the second that we sign off this webcast, he is ready to hit the big red button and make HackMe live. So that, what good would a launch webcast be without an actual launch? So after we finish the questions, and we'll spend about maybe another 10 or 15 minutes after we do this answering some additional questions, HackMe will be live today.
Yeah, just a few questions and we will give it to you.
Excellent. Well, that about does it for our time here today. I'd like to thank everyone that attended as well as those watching us on the video. Yes, that's right. I'm talking directly to you, people of the future. So whether you're here now or will be, your time is greatly appreciated. Please try out HackMe and help spread the word of this free community-driven resource. I really think it's going to be of value to not only those people, again, like I said, that are newbies, but also those who are seasoned professionals. Also, be sure to visit ethicalhacker.net often for great content, special offers, and announcements of future webcasts just like this. This is Don, your editor-in-chief, wishing you a great week and an even better career. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, gave it a few more seconds there so I know where to stop. So let's get back into some questions. We have a lot more questions about the legalities of it. So here's one. What are the guarantees for code confidentiality when uploaded from client sites?
Well, of course, you have to, you're giving us our code, okay? It's not just, I think, about HackMe, but it's about cloud computing. So we are getting into more of a, political answer. Do you trust cloud computing? If your answer is yes, then you trust us. Now I can say, please trust us, because we are, we are there in the community. Many people knows us. We are into business, so we wouldn't do something bad to the community. So we can assure you that your code is uploaded on SSL, that's being encrypted on our servers, and that is stored there as long as you want. If you don't want to be there, you can just remove it at any time. So if you trust these few things, then you can really be happy to use the platform. But it's mainly about how confident you are that we, you can trust SSL, but trust us, it's going to be encrypted. We will not going to sell your code to anyone else. We just want the right to show your code to others, or just, if it's only me, visibility mode only to you.
Okay, along those same lines, there are several people that are asking, it's totally awesome that it's free and we love the concept, but what are some of the legal ramifications of hosting such a project with all this kind of vulnerable applications and code going up and down and being shared and what have you? What did you have to do on the back end in creating the HackMe project in order to basically not be liable for other people's issues?
Oh yeah, this is a great question. So when you the first layer, we work at 2 layers. Now we don't want to, the legal layer is a backup. You don't want to go on the legal layer, okay? Because you don't want to sue people, you don't want to have issues. But of course, there's a terms of service that you have to comply with when you either sign up as a developer or as a user. So as a developer, you are bound to not upload anything malicious for others. As a users, you are bound not to use the platform to harm third parties. Being that said, there is another layer that we take, and it's limiting the connections that this vulnerable web application can do to third-party servers. Okay, so there are some technical operations that we do to limit damages that one can do through these vulnerable web applications. Once again, it's all about the community. Do you remember, let me just show you this. Hopefully you can see my screen. You know, the tagline is also known as our craziest project ever. So why crazy? It's crazy because of this issue. Now we are hosting third-party contents, third-party vulnerable contents, and we are aware of these legal issues. But we think that the pros are much more than the cons, because this project can really change the way pen testers and web app researchers can use web application security, can practice web application security. So we have worked these 2 layers, the legal layer and the technical layer, to make sure that bad things don't happen.
Excellent. Other questions along those same lines. One is, what safeguards are in place to protect users from running a HackMe and then being compromised with an exploit? I know that you have snapshots of particular VMs and what have you, but are there really any safeguards in place, or it's really kind of the Wild West out there?
Absolutely. The reason why we employ the sandbox is exactly for this. It's not just about giving you a new instance every time, not just about that. It's also to protect the final user from someone who might, hack the application, install a web browser exploit, for example, or install malware, and the sandbox will protect you from that. Now, where is the problem here? The problem is where the developer uploads something malicious. Now, when the developers upload something malicious, we employ a moderation process. The moderation process means that we go through the contents of the web application. So we try our best to make sure that this will not include anything malicious for the final user. And this is, I think this will, make sure that 99% of the cases, nothing bad will happen. If you want to be 100% sure that you will not be hacked, you can just run HackMe from a virtual machine, for example, or from another computer, or a computer that you don't use, but a virtual machine would do the job. But once again, there's moderation on the HackMe code, and there's the sandbox that will protect you from other users from hacking the web application and installing malware.
Excellent. And along those same lines, I would just assume that when it comes to, let's say, testing applications, you have to actually do your own due diligence if you're going to participate in HackMe. Because let's say you take either something that you're writing or something that your company's working on, and you want to have it in a cloud-based, sandboxed environment, that you need to have your own legal issues worked out before you even attempt this. Wouldn't that be correct?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you need to have the rights to do that. I mean, especially when, I think this is the same, if I have understood the question, it's the same when you upload someone else's code. So if you have a third-party code and you upload it on the platform, you are responsible for the copyrights and the rights, whatever rights is, so it's trademarks or copyright. You need to have these rights to upload the code. Now we are not responsible for this, of course. So when you use the platform as a developer and you upload code, you are responsible for that code. Of course, from the legal perspective, we keep logs of all the things happening on the platform, and we need to do so in order to make sure that if someone does something bad, we can, respond to this, showing that we take all of the countermeasures to make sure that bad things don't happen.
Excellent. I have a few other questions in regards to Coliseum. One of them is, why is HackMe free of charge while eLearnSecurity trainees have to pay monthly in order to access the Coliseum?
Okay, good question. First of all, you don't pay monthly. You pay a 30 days access. That's not a repeated payment, okay? It's not a recurring payment. But anyway, it's not this the reason. When you access the Coliseum, you have an educational environment around Coliseum. This means that you have tips that follow you through the challenge. You have educational challenges, so if you are stuck doing something, you will have at any time educational material unlocking your problems, so solving your problems while you are doing your practical tests. You will have challenges with capture the flag, so you will have flags installed within the application that change every time a new session. Every time a new session is found, you will have a different token, a different flag to be found, so you will use it as a challenge. So it's a completely different approach. It's more feature-rich, and you will see it in a couple of weeks that we will launch something for the Coliseum where they will find more educational around the lab. So our labs will be for free, but it's not as educational. So basically on the Coliseum lab you will pay the educational side of it, the material that we give with the lab.
Excellent. Now, just for those who don't know, do you want to explain a little bit exactly what the Coliseum framework is? Because basically it's an online lab for your online pen testing courses.
Yes, sure. So we have, we call it, the names are a bit confusing. So we have the Coliseum framework that's responsible for the sandboxes. So it's used both on HackMe and it's used on Coliseum Lab. Now, the lab is the product that you buy with our training course. The lab is a bunch. There are 14 educational labs. So these labs are completely integrated within the training course. This is another point why the Coliseum Lab is for pay and this is for free. So whenever you study the web application security section of our training course, you will find pointers to the Coliseum Lab, and you will have to perform that particular lab that will teach you in practice what you have learned in theory. The Coliseum framework is instead involved during the creation of the sandbox. So it's a bunch of libraries that work with the file system, work with the operating system, that are responsible to isolate your web application at different layers. So as I said, it's it's file system, it's web server, and it's database.
Excellent. So in essence, the Coliseum framework is something that you've been working on for a number of years. It worked really well for teaching in your own security courses. So again, as a way to give back to the community that gave so much to us, you decided to turn around and create HackMe based on what you learned from creating the Coliseum framework.
Exactly, exactly.
Excellent. Along those same lines, probably a huge difference between what you'll get by within the Coliseum labs that are tied to your security training and what you'll get with HackMe is actually some hands-on stuff. Will there be anyone, in fact somebody mentioned it, if we have challenges out there, will there be a Cicero kind of guy available which can provide hints to the hackers as they're going through a HackMe challenge?
So basically a tutor or an instructor, you mean?
Exactly. Either that or somebody just to say, ooh, you're close, you may want to look at this, or maybe give a hint or kind of direct them in a particular way, or is that going to be basically handled in the forums? And if somebody wants to help, again, part of the community, then great.
Well, we will leave this to the developer. Since this is a free platform, we will leave this to the HackMe developer. So we will give the tools where people can meet and talk. So comments on the HackMe page, so the forums, but there's, I mean, beyond these tools, we cannot force an HackMe developer to also give, training and support to the final users. We actually do support the users when they are on the Coliseum Lab. Of course, since we are, we are into this project, we will try to help as much as we can, but of course this is a community-based project, so we expect the community to talk to each other, and as it happens with our community forums within eLearnSecurity, you will find the students to be faster to answer than the instructors, and we are talking about really seconds instead of hours or days. So a community has been created even within a paid environment. So we expect to be even more so within a free environment.
Yeah, exactly. And we find the same thing on the Ethical Hacker Network in our community forums, where we have people talking about all kinds of different stuff, whether it's your training or other training venues. There's a lot of people that actually will share and give advice, and we find the same thing. There are some times where, our time is limited in what we can do, and that's why we actually find it not only valuable, but just an unbelievably quick resource in order to utilize a community. Along those same lines, as we have these communities and they're creating all these HackMes, what are the size constraints, and is there any platform dependency based on that?
The size of the HackMe, you mean?
Correct.
Well, and now I think I should check out I think it's 20 megabytes. I should check with the tech guys in the other room, but I think, yes, of course there will be a limit. Once again, it's all about common sense. If we see you love the platform and you want to put gigabytes of stuff only for you, for example, without sharing them, well, maybe $1 or $2 you can give them, but as long as we are talking about megs, or there's no limits in number of HackMes that you can create, by the way. So you can create any number of HackMes. But of course there's a limit in terms of resources usage, because we have to make sure that this is useful and usable for everyone else. So yeah, I think 20 megabytes is the HackMe limit, but not sure about that. Might be even higher, and we might even want to increase this amount.
Excellent. It's about 20 after the hour, so how about we go maybe another 10 more minutes? We have several questions here, and again, I apologize if we don't get to your questions. Again, you can always go back to hack.me or ethicalhacker.net, and Armando, myself, and Thomas will do our utmost to answer all the questions that you could have. In the, let's say, the HackMe description page for each individual HackMe, is there a possible way to leave comments when testing a HackMe, so you can give it back to, let's say, the original creator of the HackMe, that, hey, I found this, or here's an issue, or it's not working exactly the way that you had mentioned it, or I had thought? Is there a way to communicate and put a note right back on that page, or is this, again, something that's handled within the community forums of hack.me?
No, absolutely. We want to include, it's not ready today, but definitely you will find it within days. Ways to talk to the creator within the HackMe page, so without going to the forums. So there will be ways where you can, we have to take some decision about this, but anyway, you will be able to contact the developer privately if you want to say something, because we don't want to have someone spoil the challenge if it's a challenge, you know. So if you have to find something and you will find the solution right on the homepage of the HackMe, you might be annoyed. So that's why we have to think about it. But for sure you will have the chance to talk to the HackMe developer right from the HackMe webpage, and you can talk to the other people right on the HackMe webpage. Now we have to limit this, otherwise the forums would be useless. Sorry. So we definitely implement something like this, and you will see it in really coming soon.
Excellent. Can you use a HackMe as a pivot? So in other words, can I, let's say if I, attack a particular HackMe, and I want to use that and launch another attack against something else, like either a phishing attack or some kind of network pen testing attack, is that possible, or do you guys limit how far outside of that sandbox you can go?
Absolutely, you cannot do that because of two reasons. The first is that the sandbox is only visible to from your IP address. So you wouldn't do phishing. I mean, you cannot share the sandbox. You might be able to share the permalink, but of course the victim should click start and then click on the sandbox. And of course this limits the phishing attack. On the other side, you cannot pivot because you're limited into the way you access third parties. So from within your PHP you cannot access third-party servers. Excellent.
I think I know this answer, but just to throw it out there anyway so it's officially on record. Can people clone public HackMes?
Oh yeah, we talked yesterday about this. Do you remember them?
I do.
And yes, this is a great feature that we really, it's not easy to implement, but we know it can be very useful. Now we will do this, and the way we will do this is like a snapshot. I'm sure some of the audience has already played with VMware, where you modify a virtual machine and create a snapshot. We want to do something along these lines, something like this. So you create a new instance of a web application that others have created, for example WordPress. Okay, a clean version of WordPress with no plugins installed. Now what if you install plugins that you need and then click save? At this point you will package a new HackMe. So that HackMe can be used by others or by you. So the modifications, the files that you have created, the changes in the database will be persistent with a new HackMe. So definitely this is something we will do as soon as possible. However, it's not easy to implement. It's not as straightforward, as creating a commenting feature on the Hack Me page, but it's something that we will do the way I explained right now.
Excellent. Now, we're getting some other questions, and I know that it was covered briefly during the demo, but what other types of, let's say, SQL databases can you use? So there's MySQL, there's MS SQL. What other ones can you use, and are there different versions that you can have?
Right now we support MySQL. Microsoft SQL Server, it's only supported into Coliseum Lab, the paid one, and this is another reason why the Coliseum Lab is for pay instead of free. Now it just came up into my mind right now. This has a reason, because as you may know, Microsoft SQL Server allows you to do so many dangerous things from the SQL side, from the application side, that implementing it, within a sandbox, it's really not this easy. However, we will expand the sandbox to Postgre, for example, as a new database. We will definitely support different versions and different DBMSs. But once again, we will first concentrate on making the platform bug-free and full of hack miss before we move on with supporting new web servers and new DBMSs and so on.
And would that go for the same as languages? So is it currently just PHP, or are there other languages?
Yeah, of course, right now it's only PHP. As I said, we will move to .NET as a next option.
All right. Well, we officially have, let's say, 3 more minutes on my extended clock. So let me, first of all, say thank you to those who participated, not just Armando and Thomas, but also those who attended and asked all these great questions. And we also appreciate you sticking around. There's still a huge number of people that are on the webcast right now, so your attention is greatly appreciated. And with that, we also want to ask one last question for Armando before he hits that big red button and actually launches Hack Me. So a lot of people are asking things about the rules of engagement, what's allowed, what's not allowed. So before they go out there and play, any last words of encouragement, any last words of warning, and then anything else that either one of you would like to add. And again, thank you so much. In addition to that, there were a lot of people that really complimented you on what you put together, Armando. So kudos to you, and I'll leave it to you to explain rules of engagement.
Great. So I will just say, please use the platform. The platform is for free. The platform probably has some bugs. The platform needs your suggestion. The platform, however, is very, very useful in my opinion. The only thing I can say is just try it. Try it. The rules of engagement are really easy. I mean, if you comply by the rules, if you're not doing anything bad, if you don't upload malicious stuff, if you use it with common sense, this platform will be great, and great for everyone, because it's a community for the community project. So please use it. Let us know what you think. Let me say thank you to everyone who has joined us today for this webinar, to all of the people who have sent suggestions, and to all of the people who will try this tonight. So can I hit this red button, Don?
Absolutely, go for it. I'm excited for you to do it.
Okay, so Hack Me is now live, and please go use it and let us know what you think.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And again, for those of you who are still on with us, let me again just say thank you and remind you that Hack Me is live right now. So go out and start playing. And if you have any questions, you can go to the hack.me forums as well as the Ethical Hacker Network forums. In addition to that, one final reminder that yes, we have been recording. I even kept the recording going while we did this extended Q&A session. So in addition to the regular webcast, all of these extra questions that we went over for the extra half an hour are also being recorded. All of this will be transformed into a flash video and put on the Ethical Hacker Network in article format. Everyone who registered for this webcast will be notified via email, as well as it'll just be plastered all over EHNet. We'll tweet it. I'm sure Armando will do the same. So even if you couldn't hear it, I know that we had people from well, just like us. I'm in the U.S., he's in Italy. We also have someone from the U.K. presenting, and we had people from all over the globe attending today. So some of the audio may not have been fantastic with all the different bandwidth issues, but at least I know that I heard most of it, and hopefully that came through on the recording. So if there was something that you missed, even if you watched it live today, feel free to go back and watch that video. And again, it's a project for the community, by the community, so it not only needs your support and participation, but it also needs you to go out there and really let the world know about it. And for that, Armando and I thank you. We wish you a great day. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.